Hey, what's up everybody? It's Keem Stream here, and in this video I'm going to do my very first versus matchup for the year. I'll be facing off Darth Maul from Star Wars versus Zuko from the last Airbender series. And I have a special guest with me here today to help me break down this fight, a very good friend of mine.
Quan from True Side of Context, back again. Let's jump right into it.
Alright, so you go ahead and start off, buddy.
Alright. So as far as Zuko is concerned, everybody knows he was born into the royal family until he was banished by his father for talking out of turn during the meeting. So he spent a lot of his teenage life hunting down the Avatar because he felt like that was the only thing that was going to restore his honor.
Of course.
So Zuko was very stubborn and strong-willed. You know what I'm saying? We've seen him take down multiple warriors, including firebenders, Commander Zhao, and also just off of his own determination.
Right.
But one thing I want to mention is, because he was trained in the royal family, he was trained by the military, so it was a difference between his form when he was hunting down the Avatar versus after he joined them. So if you actually take a look at Zuko's form, in the beginning he was very stiff and sturdy but when he joined the Avatar, when he went to the Masters of Firebend and the Dragons, he became way more elusive.
Right.
His Firebender became more powerful. So Zuko, being a stubborn, strong-willed person, I would say actually will give Darth Maul a hard time because I feel like they're alike in a lot of ways.
Right. Yeah, they are very similar in a lot of ways. And one thing to add to Zuko's is his physical physique. Like, it was times where Aang was so evasive that Zuko, like you said before, he was like very stubborn and he was very stiff with his firebending. And as time went on, he became more loose and more of a master of his element. But the evasive and the physical physique and his athleticism helped him and guided him in certain situations where you would think he would have gotten destroyed. For example, when he has faced off against Azula, and even a few later times that he's faced off with Aang in the second book, I believe. Correct. And even though the physical physique doesn't necessarily determine a battle victory in versus matchups like this, but it could help and it could alter a result in certain battles as well.
True. And one thing I want to mention about his fights with Azula is in the second book, when Azula tried to take him prisoner, he stood absolutely no chance. She was destroying him in that fight. But later on, when they fought at the Boiling Rock, and later when they faced off in the final Agni Kai, Zuko actually proved to be her equal, or perhaps better than her.
Right. That's actually some good points you made there, my friend. And giving a little backstory and some, diagnosis on the character Darth Maul. Switching over, Darth Maul was a character that was fueled by hatred. Of course, like a lot of other Sith Lords and dark side characters from the universe of Star Wars, of course. He was taken in by Darth Sidious and trained and given the basics of all 7 forms of the Star Wars teachings and their fighting styles with the lightsabers. But he mastered the 7th form, and that was Juyu. He mastered that form, and it was basically the most vicious, the most attackative type form of all the other forms. And he actually also mastered the 6th form as well too, which is basically all the forms put into one. He actually mastered those 2, and Sidious has trained him to that. Now, like I said before, the hatred that he had for the Jedi Masters actually fueled him and actually made him stronger. And what people don't really take into account for Darth Maul's character is he doesn't really use the typical powers of dark side characters as far as like force lightning and things like that. He uses the force to really amp up his physical abilities. So in this fight, I believe that with the force physique that he has, the connection with the force and the way he uses his abilities, I feel like his athleticism and his evasive skills and also his battle combatant being a veteran in the category, I feel like he has more to offer than Zuko does in a physical fight. And I'm not gonna say that firebending would not be able to necessarily hurt Darth Maul, but I don't believe that it would really be as effective on Maul because of the connection that he has with the Force.
Those are some very good points you made. And I like this matchup pretty much because I actually see similarities between the two of them, like how they both won't stop until they get their job done. Even when, you remember when Zuko tried to capture the Avatar at the North Pole and he had to fight Katara.
Right.
She encased him in ice, and as soon as the sun came out, he broke out of it and still got him.
Yep. That's true. That's very true. And Zuko and Darth Maul, like you said before, it's a good comparison between the two characters because they both started off one way and they could evolve into their own characters. Like Darth Maul being taken in by Sidious and then his master betraying him, and then also Zuko being exiled from the Fire Nation, and he also had to focus his hatred and try to once again be accepted by his community, but at the same time he used his hatred and taught himself along with Iroh's teachings to figure out what he wanted in his life, and he thought his duty in the end was to help the Avatar beat the Fire Lord, and Maul's was to just completely just wipe out all the Jedi. So you got a huge and a very good point that these characters are very comparable.
And as you mentioned, somebody mentioned before that Darth Maul can possibly use Force Lightning, correct?
Right.
And Zuko knows how to redirect lightning, so would he be able to redirect this type of lightning? Or
That's true. That's a good thing to factor in. Yeah, that's very true. And lightsabers too could also defend off force. Not necessarily. Well, force lightning is for one, and like you said, it depends on what type of lightning it is too, because Zuko could redirect it, and then that's a good thing to factor in too. Could Zuko redirect that type of lightning too as well? Like if they're lightning the same maybe, or is it different depending on because I believe that in the Avatar series they use actual lightning from the sky, right?
Correct.
And then in the actual Star Wars, I believe that people that use Force lightning actually use it from the actual body. So that's a good way to interpret that and really show the difference between that too as well.
And while we actually break down the actual fight, Darth Maul likes to fight close up, but the old Zuko used to do the same thing. But the new version of Zuko, after he joined the Avatar,
right,
he fought more from a distance.
Right.
So Darth Maul would have to get close to Zuko to actually use his lightsaber on him.
That's true.
But would he be able to get in that many feet of him?
Right. So I do have one question for you, really quickly. Okay. Do you think that Darth Maul throwing his lightsaber at Zuko, do you think that Zuko could possibly evade the lightsaber if he constantly was to try to use that as a weapon from far range?
It's a possibility because we've seen Zuko evade some crazy attacks. Like, I don't think the old Zuko would have because he would let his temper and his anger get the best of him, but the Zuko after he joined Avatar, I would say he really could.
True. I understand that, and I actually agree with that too as well. So factoring in all these good points and details throughout for both of these characters, coming to my conclusion, based off of what Darth Maul is capable of doing and both Zuko is able to do in their own respective ways, I believe that Darth Maul would take this fight. Me personally.
I agree too.
Cool. And not because I feel like I like him better or because I feel like he's just necessarily just stronger than him. I think it's just the connection that he has with his own abilities versus how Zuko's abilities differ from his.
Right.
And I think we gotta, just being able to spend time with these characters over the years, I believe that we've gotten enough to see from both of these characters in their arcs and what they were able to do in their own respective universes, of course, like as far as the movies of Star Wars and also the cartoons as well. Like how Obi-Wan was able to defeat Maul, but in the TV series, in the cartoon shows, Darth Maul was shown to actually survive a lot of attacks and things like that and further advance his skills. And to be honest, me personally, I think that in Rebels, I don't think that Obi-Wan Kenobi is my favorite character of Star Wars in general, but I think at that time, I don't think that it was just enough for him to have been able to beat Maul at that point in time, because Obi-Wan was old. And we've seen that Obi at that age was not stronger than even Darth Vader, and we know that Darth Maul was up there with Darth Vader in terms of power and physical abilities.
Everybody agree? So your conclusion is Darth Maul will win?
My conclusion is Darth Maul will win, yes.
Right. Same here.
Okay, so guys, please let us know down in the comment section down below what you guys think, and please let us know who you think will win in this fight. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Once again, this is Keemstream and Quan here, and Keemstream and Quan over and out.